Hi. I just got a box from Llewelyn. Let's open it. So I filmed that intro, and then I filmed an entire video going through all of the yummy goodies that Llewelyn sent me. And then I went to edit it and realized I didn't hit record. So we're doing this again. But I apologize because my initial first impressions have already happened. So these are like secondish impressions. But I have a big box of goodies. I don't remember what I even said in my intro. I have a big box of goodies. I even have a different beverage. Look at this. But I have to show it off because it's Llewelyn's swag, and it makes me really freaking happy. Peggy calls it my validation cup because this was actually sent to me by the team at Llewelyn after I presented at Llewelyn Con, and it was really sweet. And it's the best cup. It's thermal. It keeps my drink cold. I now have diet root beer. I don't know what I opened on camera for the intro, but I have a completely different beverage. It's a completely different day. I have a chip in my nail polish. We're not going to judge me. We're just going to we're going to roll with it. And we're going to go through everything. But I have books, I have decks, and we're going to start with what was, for me, the most exciting thing in the package. Oh my God! It exists in real life. This is a galley copy of Unlocking the Tarot, Create Your Own Keys, my book coming out published by Llewelyn it's due out October 8th. So you can pre-order this, but I'm very excited to see it in physical copy. This is an unedited proof, or uncorrected proof, I should say. So it's got like marketing material in the back. This isn't exactly what it's going to look like, but this is pretty much the cover. It's just got a band over the front. And y'all, let me just. It is, we are meaty. We are meaty. So let's take a second. I'm not going to dive into this because I want to wait until I have actual copies, but I am going to show you, let me see, I don't want to spoiler things, but I am going to show you the table of contents, which is not changing. So this is what is going to be in this book. So if you don't know, the premise of this book was actually inspired by my Tarot with Training Wheels course, the free course that I have here on YouTube. It's much expanded beyond that, of course, but that is the sort of the seed or the soul of this project. And so anyway, there is a foreword by Barbara Moore, Be Still My Heart. My whole self just tingles when I say that out loud. Barbara Moore is an inspiration to me as a lover of tarot, and I've always enjoyed her decks and her books. So big fan, and it was like the coolest like bucket list moment for me ever when she agreed to do the foreword when I asked her, and I just, oof, it's a whole thing. But anyway, so that aside, very excited about that. But anyways, here is the table of contents. So chapter 1, there's actually an intro. So there's a foreword by Barbara Moore. There's an intro that is written by me. And then we get into the premise. So we start with setting the record straight. This is a chapter where I talk about, the page numbers aren't in here. I just noticed and it totally threw me. I'm like, wait, page 00. I just realized page numbers aren't in here yet. But anyways, chapter 1 is setting the record straight. This is where I get into common misconceptions about the tarot. I also sort of really lay some, I think, important groundwork for working with this book and sort of what my goal is. Obviously work with it however works for you. Chapter 2 is all about keywords and why keywords are something that I geek out about, that I think are really important and really helpful for people who are new to tarot as well as more advanced users. And then I talk about the major arcana in chapter 3. This is where we get into the card by card definitions. Now, the thing about this to know is that the take on this is I am sharing with you, there's so much in here, okay, because the table of contents doesn't even do it justice, because in the majors, we go through a section, I lead you through a section. I mean, this is really designed to almost work like a course, okay? But in the majors, oh my gosh, let's get into it, okay. In the majors, what are archetypes? Okay. We go through every card. I give you my favorite keyword for the card, but I also talk through like why that keyword works. Then I give some alternate keywords for that card. I do that all the way through the deck. But when we get into the minors, so I have it separated. I'm so excited. I can't even put sentences together. I have it separated so you get an intro section to the minor arcana where I talk about the elements and keywords that I use for the elements. I talk about the numbers and keywords I use for the numbers. Then I go in and share my keyword for each card. But the point of this is like I'm sharing my favorite keyword for each card, and I'm also walking you through the process of ideally choosing your own. So maybe you resonate with my keyword, but maybe you resonate with a different keyword. And so I offer different alternatives for every card as well as my own. I also sort of talk about the premise of why this is so helpful and how working with a single keyword can actually be a portal. You can hear me geek out about this if you watch my Llewelyn Con presentation. about the power of keywords in tarot reading, but the idea is that the keyword acts as like a portal that you can step through that can really unlock a myriad of meanings. It can expand the meaning. And I think a lot of times with keywords, we think that it shrinks down the meaning. And so the premise of this is that the keyword can expand the meaning. It can also be a memory device. It can also help you learn the tarot. But the base premise for me is the way that it unlocks and opens and expands what that card can mean. In any case, I can go on and on and on, and I'm going to, but I'm very proud of this. I'm very, very proud of this. It is substantial. There's a lot of writing in here, and it's clocking in at about 260 pages, but as you can see, this is not a graphic heavy book. There is a lot of substance here, and again, I'm very, very, very proud of it. So if you are interested in this, especially if you are intrigued about the idea of keywords and the power of them in working with cards, then highly encourage you to pre-order this. There'll be a link in my description box. There always is, but having a physical copy of this thing that I've been working on for so long in my hands is like an unreal feeling, and it almost still doesn't feel real. It's hard to describe. I'm kind of like, when I have the actual finished version in my hands, I feel like maybe then it'll feel real, or maybe it just never will feel real. But I'm very, very proud and very, very excited. So had to babble about that. I was thinking about saving this for like the end of the video, and then I'm like, no, I'm just going to lead with the thing that I'm the most excited about because I can't help myself. Okay. There are other books, though, so let's talk about some other books that came in this box. So these were all sent to me for the purposes of review, so keep that in mind. I didn't purchase these with my own money. There is one thing that I'm going to be talking about that I did purchase because it goes with something else that they sent me, but in any case, we're going to go through some more books. All of these were things that when they asked me if I'd be interested in anything for review, these are things that I personally was like, oh, this is interesting. And then there was also a couple of surprises in here as well, some extra goodies, I should say. So this was an extra goodie, and I'm really excited they sent it to me. This is called Tarot Every Which Way by Lilith Dorsey. It's got a foreword by Silver Ravenwolf. And y'all, in the video that I didn't actually hit record on, the way I squealed about this, because Silver Ravenwolf was like baby witch, like memories for me. So just seeing her name in a foreword was such a cool moment. But in any case, subtitle of this is Unlock the Power of the Cards for Spellcraft and Magic. And the premise, so this says, immerse yourself in the magic of tarot as Lilith Dorsey introduces you to the many ways it can complement your witchcraft. Taking you beyond card meanings, this book offers recipes, meditations, spells, crafts, spreads, and more. With hundreds of tips and activities, this extensive guide is full of inspiration for every magical practitioner. So I did flip through this book. And what I found is that it was very major arcana heavy, although the minors are represented in the book. I'm trying to remember where they were. Yeah, so here's the coin suit, and you get a little something for every card, but the majors get like pretty substantial entries. So for example, here is the Justice card. It tells you a little bit about what the card means, but then you get crystal correspondences. You also get herbal correspondences and other correspondences for the card, which is helpful if you want to be able to put together your own spell work and kind of craft your own stuff. And then there is magical and culinary recipes. And I kind of freaked out about this because I think it's awesome to have a combination of both magical and culinary things to do in relation to a card. That's just fun to me. So for example, in the Justice card, there's a magical recipe, and it's labeled magical, so you know, for court case oil. And the ingredients are simple, right? Anise oil, rosemary oil, nutmeg oil, pinch of dirt from outside a courthouse, sweet almond oil, a small glass bottle. And you could probably make some substitution here, some substitutions with what makes sense, you know, once you start to understand. And then for the culinary recipe, we have two of them. We have garlic chicken. And it says garlic is the food most often used to represent the Justice card, and this recipe uses a lot of it. It's one of my favorites. Most people will probably recognize the flavors here as they are classic and combine beautifully. So really, really nice flavors. And then we have Herbal Delight pea soup. And again, talks about garlic a little bit. But then you get a Journeying with Justice, sort of guided meditation, and another spell. So here we have a Justice jar spell. So you really, for every card, I feel like you get a lot of good stuff to work with magically. So to me, this feels like a magical, almost like a correspondence, like a magical book based on the tarot. Oh, this one really caught my eye. This is the Devil. There's a Down and Dirty Devil oil. There's a Black Cherry Jello shot, Little Devil cupcakes, Journeying with the Devil, and a Devil Walk spell. I mean, just cool stuff. So I thought this was really fun and was excited I got a chance to see it. I didn't ask for it, I don't think. I think this was just one that they added, and I'm so glad they did. Anyway, this is by Lilith Dorsey, and it looks amazing. Also another one that's quite substantial and text heavy. So very exciting. Next up, this one was just intriguing to me. This is Pendulums and Intuition, Practical Advice for Trusting Your Inner Wisdom by Karina Muller and Lana Gendlin. I've never picked up a book about pendulum work before. I picked it up because I've been using pendulums for like 20 years, but I always use them in a very, very, very simplified way. I really just use them for yes, no's, and that's it. And so I was kind of hoping that reading this might open up some options, some ideas, some inspiration for other ways to work with pendulums, because I love the feeling of them. I love the tactile experience and the vibrational experience of working with them. So I'm kind of hoping that this will give me some ideas for ways that I can work with it beyond just yes, no's. So we will see. I will definitely report back when I get some time with this to let you know how it operated on that level for me. But it was a more recently published book, and so I thought it might be pretty modern and current. And I just wanted to get some ideas, some thoughts and opinions on ways to use my pendulums. And here is another galley copy. This is Ethany's upcoming book, Tarot Grimoire. Now, if I remember correctly, her book is releasing in August. Does it actually say on here? Yes, publication date August 2024, because mine is October. Yeah. So this is also an uncorrected proof, so keep that in mind. So this is Spreads and Spells for a Magical Life. The foreword is by Bennabelle Wen, which is amazing. And I don't have the back cover, so I can't read the back cover, but let's take a look at the table of contents. So we have a chapter on magic and casting spells, reading the tarot cards, the majors, then we have each of the 4 suits, a conclusion, an appendix with a list of tarot spreads by need. Okay, we're going to look at that. And then a list of spells by need, which is amazing. So this is formatted. It's kind of funny because when I got this, I was like, wait, isn't that kind of similar to Tarot Every Which Way? And so in my original footage, I looked at this and was kind of doing some comparing, and they do feel very different to me. So this book feels more geared towards bringing you into, first of all, every single tarot card, because the card entries remain the same even through the minors, which is great. So it's not just major focused. I should, and really Tarot Every Which Way was very much emphasized on the majors. You get some keywords for the card. You obviously get an image of the card, some keywords, and a little bit of a brief write-up about the card, followed by usually a fairly substantial tarot spread based on the energy of that card. So for example, the Hermit has a message from my spirit guide spread, which I feel like people would just love. And then there is a spell, typically. And then sometimes there's even extra tidbits, maybe an extra activity or an extra bit of something. So that was a major. Let's look at a minor. Let's just go to, let's go to the Knight of Cups. So now you get key concepts about the card, a little bit about it, and now you get a hot lover or a dud spread, and then you get a call in a new lover spell. And then if you go to the back, this did actually really excite me. If you pick this up, in the back you're going to find an appendix based on needs. So let's say you want to do a career or work spread. You can just flip to the back and it'll tell you what card you can find those spreads in. And then she does the same thing here for the spells. So if you want to do a Justice and Karmic spell, you can find that in the Justice card or the Queen of Swords card. So you can totally use this as a bit of a spell or tarot spread inspiration reference guide, which I think is really cool. And it is beautifully laid out. This looks really good, and it looks exciting. So this one is coming in. I didn't really tell you page counts of the other ones. Does this have page numbers on it? Yeah, it does. Okay. So this one I think is a really similar, about 295 pages. So quite substantial as well. I was super, super, super excited about this. So The Living Tarot by T. Susan Chang has been on my list for a long time, and I hadn't scooped it up yet. So they sent me a copy, and I'm so glad that they did, because apparently Susie had been in the area and she actually signed some of Llewelyn's copies. So I got a signed copy, which is amazing, because I've had this terrible habit. I've seen Susie speak at tarot conferences, well, the tarot conference I've been to, which is Northwest Tarot Symposium. I've seen her speak there 3 different times. And I've absolutely loved her presentation every single time. She really, really knows her stuff. And every single time I go home and I buy one of her books. Like, that's just how it always goes. So, but I never have a book, or buy a book right when I'm there or whatever to have her sign. It's always been like I'm doing things in the wrong order. So I've never gotten one signed, and this just made me really happy. But this book really excites me, particularly those of you who have ever worked with Mary Kay Greer's Tarot for Yourself, which is sort of a workbook that sort of takes you into the tarot and helps you apply it to your life. This feels like a modern contribution along the same vein or along the same lines. They do not feel similar, but they have the same kind of, I feel like, purpose in a sense. They feel like they are meant to help you connect to the tarot in a personalized way. And I really, really love that. This is very much written as though it's a course you're taking. And I love that too. So this says connecting the cards to everyday life for better readings. This is out now, by the way. So this says this beginner-friendly book reveals how to find personal everyday meanings in all 78 tarot cards. No more memorized predetermined definitions. Now you'll learn to see, breathe, and feel the tarot wherever you turn. Now this is very much based on the Rider-Waite-Smith. But if I recall, this begins with the premise of a card a day pull and the importance of a card a day pull, but then the entire book builds on that. So you have, you have chapters, but within each chapter there's assignments. So for example, let's go into let's just start here. So obviously chapter 1, card of the day. So I told you this is where it begins, but she makes a really strong case for it. I did a little bit of like glancing through this. It really does make a lot of sense. And then she starts with the assignment. So assignment 1.1 is a psychic buzz exercise. And there is actually workbook space sort of in this book. I don't think I'm going to write in it because I don't typically. I did actually write in Mary Kay Greer's Tarot for Yourself, and I'm glad I did. So we'll see. But I don't think I'm going to write in this. Anyways, assignment 1.2 is too hard, too easy. And just to give you the vibe, I'll read the first paragraph. It's easy to say there are no good or bad cards, but it's a different matter entirely to stand in front of the cards dewy-eyed with hope and anticipation, and then to draw your card, flip it over, and see the tower. Everything in life is in tarot, but the traditional imagery often looks more like a highlight reel. Miracles, disaster, windfalls, failures, than the relatively tame lives we actually live. And she goes on from there to talk about this particular exercise, and it looks like you're working with some difficult cards, the Ten of Swords, the Devil, the Tower, 5 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 5 of Cups, holy moly, and then some positive cards. So the Sun, the 10 of Pentacles, the 4 of Wands, the 3 of Cups, the 9 of Cups, and the 10 of Cups. And then she goes into deconstructing the Tower and so forth. What's really great is that this is very much an activity book in the sense that you're going to be doing work. You're not going to just read this and then put it on a shelf, right? You're going to have exercises. And that is something that I really appreciate and need as somebody who appreciates learning tarot, is I need to be given hands-on things to do. It's actually why, and I didn't really talk about this, but it's actually why in Unlocking the Tarot, at the end of every chunk of cards, every section, I give card spreads, suggestions, things to do to get to know that part of your deck. It's the same thing, right? We're just all coming at it from slightly different angles, but this is really rooted in like living your life and applying the cards to your life, really getting to deeply understand and know them for yourself. So love this. Very excited to dig into this. I really want to spend some good time with it. I never tire of learning about the tarot from different people, different perspectives, and yeah, very excited about this. Really, really respect Susie's work. Okay, there is one more book, but it goes with the deck, so let's bring that out next. Alison Wonderland by Paula Barbieri. I did purchase this book, actually. Dawn Michelle and I purchased this. Both of us purchased a copy of this when we were at one of the shops in town while she was here visiting. Literally obsessed with this art. There's also a Wizard of Oz book by Paula Barbieri, and I'm hoping there's going to also be a matching deck because I would love to pick that up as well. I don't buy art books very often, but this does actually have the narrative, like I would say an abridged version of the Alice in Wonderland story in this book, but it's absolutely beautiful. The artwork is just evocative and kind of moody and very like... it's something special. It's something special. And I knew I was going to get the Oracle deck, but I've been waiting for it to be available. It's been showing out of stock in Canada, and I haven't been able to pick it up. But I got the art book as well, and mostly because it's also like I can sit here and read Alice in Wonderland, but see the big, beautiful art, and that just makes me really happy. But this is the deck. I've already taken all the plastics and things off, but it is literally written in an order that follows the story. So we finish with Queen Alice, and we begin with Seeing a White Rabbit. So that gives you the flow of the deck number-wise. What's really great, too, in addition to just seeing just the gorgeous, freaking gorgeous artwork, and there's only 36 cards, but I feel like with an Alice Oracle, it can be really punchy because there's a lot of layers to dig into. I would have loved to see like 50 cards, but this is where we're at with Los Scarabeo, and we know it. But look at her. This is her waking up. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, the Walrus and the Carpenter, the White Queen, Humpty Dumpty. Look at the Lion and the Unicorn, and then Queen Alice. The backings are the Cheshire Cat pattern, which is just beautiful. But what really impressed me when I was first opening this is that the guidebook, so we know we have multiple languages, but we actually have pretty substantial write-ups for each card, and each one includes a bit about the story. So in the Unexpected Invitation card, we see in the story, Alice arrived in a clearing where a small house stood and soon discovered that it belonged to a duchess. Coming out of the woods, a strange A strange fish footman zoomed along to the front door. An even stranger frog footman opened up, and the fish footman delivered an important letter, an invitation from the Queen to play croquet. And then you get a meaning. And then you get a key question. So the meaning here is something unexpected. I should show you the card. This is what we're doing. What card is this that I'm reading? 13. So you can at least see the art while I'm... Yeah. Here is the card, and it's unexpected invitation. So the meaning says... Something unexpected is about to show up, and it seems like good news. It's proof that you are being recognized and appreciated. Welcome it with open arms and a grateful heart, even though it may require that you adjust your initial schedule, for this is truly a should not be refused type of invitation. The key question: when an unexpected invitation of any kind appears in your life, what is your most usual answer? Yes or no? Which is just an interesting point for reflection. So those prompts like that or questions like that are great jumping off points for journal work if you're doing readings for yourself, which I really appreciate. So yeah, very excited about this. Very excited about this. And I wonder how this is going to sit in my collection compared to the Alice Oracle that I have, which is the Lucy Cavendish and, you know, the Lucy Cavendish, the one with the big-eyed girls. I totally forgot the artist name for a second. Brain fart. Anyway, very excited about these. This I got for my love of Alice, really. I'm not going to be using this with the deck. I'm literally going to curl up with a cup of tea and just freaking read and enjoy this. That's what I'm going to do with this. I think eventually, by the time I die, I'm probably going to have like 12 different copies of Alison Wonderland. Right now, I just have 2, which is not bad, I think. Okay. I finally have in my hands a copy of the Once Upon a Time Tarot, and I'm really excited about it. I did notice, I have some things to say. This is a Lo Scarabeo deck. I had wanted to pre-order this, but this is another one where it just wasn't coming in. It just wasn't coming in to Canada. I don't know what was happening. Did I shuffle it? No, it's just upside down in the box. I did open this, like I said, I lost the footage. But as I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned actually, I will have links to everything down below if you're interested in any of this stuff. Here's what I noticed about the Once Upon a Time Tarot. First of all, much like the Alice Oracle that we just looked at, the guidebook is in multiple languages, but you do get a good like paragraph per card, which is great. In the major arcana, you do get the name of the story that is being referenced. Something I did notice is that there are individual stories referenced in the majors. So here we have like Jack and the Beanstalk, Puss in Boots. We have, I don't know all of them off the top of my head. We have Baba Yaga. This is probably, I don't know which Baba Yaga story it is, but then we have Beauty and the Beast and so forth and so on. And then when we get into the minors, what we get, and it's really beautiful the way it's done. Like I'm going to fan it so you can see the color palettes. Like you can clearly tell that we get, that's the road, sorry. And that's the dream. So you get this color palette for the cups. And in the cup suit, we have this sort of like mermaids are featured heavily through this. Really cute, but it's not referencing a specific story. I don't think, actually, watch me be a liar. Let me just look at the introduction to the Ace of Cups and see, because maybe I am wrong. But I don't, yeah, there's no reference to any specific story through the minor arcana, but the majors, the minor cup suit, it's really cute. It's very Rider-Waite-Smith composition, but the cup suit features mermaids and has that kind of like, hopefully you can see the color palette. It's kind of like a light tealy blue that shows up pretty regularly. I love the backs of these cards, by the way. And then the Pentacle suit has these cute little mushroom hat, little fae folk type creature and crystals, and it's got this kind of purple and turquoisey color scheme. Then in the wand suit, we have little dragon-y people, little dragon-winged type creatures, people, humanoids. Really fun. And you get this beautiful orangey color. And then the swords has like these sort of glowy winged fae. It really does feel like it's in a fairy tale land, and it's super, super cute. Really adorable. I was a little disappointed because I was hoping that there was going to be stories referenced throughout the entire deck. So far, the only tarot that's done this very well that I know of is Legacy of the Divine, the Elisa Hunt Fairy Tale Tarot, which has been out of print. I heard it's coming back, but like it seems to be taking its dear sweet time. And the Baba Studios Fairy Tale Tarot. I have had the Baba Studios deck. I didn't find myself using it. I did rehome it. But yeah, Legacy of the Divine's a good option if you want one that goes through stories. But this has such like a sweet art style. I really do like it. I'm just trying to decide how much I'll use it. But then again, the fairy tales that feature in the majors are ones that I was more likely to recognize. In general, there's more familiar ones to me, so that might make it easier. I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'd like to play with it. Oh, I should have mentioned, so I'll mention it now. If you are a Unicorn fam, Magical Unicorn tier or up, let me know if any of the decks I'm showing are ones you want to see in our next member readings live stream, because I am trying to keep track of which ones you want to see, and so I can include those in our rotation. This would definitely be a fun one to include if y'all are into it. Okay, next up, this was one they surprised me with, and it's called Under the Oak Tarot. The funny thing about, I think they surprised me with this. I can't remember now. But here's the thing about this. I saw this. This is another Lo Scarabeo. I think all three of these have been Lo Scarabeo. This is one that I remember noticing on Hot Takes was really, really beautiful, but I decided to pass on it for some reason, and I'm not entirely sure why. Sometimes it can literally just be kind of deck fatigue, right? I've gotten a lot of things in. I've been playing with a lot, so I'm just not feeling it at that particular time. But oh my gosh, I wish I still had the footage. I wish I had any footage from the first time I looked at this, because it really knocked my socks off. So again, we have a nice guidebook. We get a good kind of chunky paragraph. And I immediately see a reference to Persephone, Hecate, Dionysus, and who's the page? This is all pentacles. And who's the page? A youthful satyr. Okay, so I was reading a little bit. Where was I reading? Was it in the book? I think it was in the book. In the intro about this. And it's basically, yeah, here it is. Under the Oak Tarot is a truly unique deck that delves into the realm of dreams and the art of turning them into reality. As we embark on this journey, the querent accompanies Anima, a visually impaired child, through a magical fairy tale island blooming with rich, green, flourishing vegetation. This mystical landscape is dominated by a majestical oak tree and inhabited by mythical and mysterious creatures and gods. Much like Anima, we are presented with the opportunity to develop a second sight along our own path, gaining deeper insight into ourselves and unlocking our untapped potential. The author crafts a beautiful tapestry of symbolism of Celtic, Norse, Basque, and Greek inspiration. This intricate and captivating tapestry prompts us to explore beyond what meets the eye, unveil the mysteries of the material world, and discover the sacred revelations within the hidden depths. It's a truly surreal experience that not only inspires our ambitions, but also reignites the dormant magic within, encouraging us to embrace the extraordinary journey that lies ahead. When I tell you the art for this is just out of this world, it is so beautiful. This deck is gilded, but it doesn't feel bad. It feels nice. It's not wrapping funny. It's smooth. It feels sturdy. The cards are, I don't know why I'm holding it there. My microphone's over here. They're that papery kind of, you know the sound, the papery kind of matte. I don't remember Lo Scarabeo coming out with matte cardstock before, but that's a thing. So, but the artwork, yeah, it is just gorgeous. There's the Emperor. This Hierophant is literally everything. There's so much symbolism in the cards. It's so beautiful. It really has taken my breath away. Look at this 5 of Cups. Like, she's just gorgeous. And the 9 of Cups, which I often look at, I love this with the reflective pool. I love how her blindfold is down, but she's experiencing this, right? It's not about seeing, it's about experiencing. Really powerful stuff here. Really, really powerful stuff. And could be I mean, I don't know. And I would love to hear if you are somebody who either is vision impaired or who knows somebody close in your life who is. I'd be curious your take on this, if you feel like it was respectfully done. If you do get it, I would be super curious to hear. But to me, it looks really beautiful and powerful. It feels like the kind of thing that just breaks the mold a little in a way that I think is really, really special. I love how the swords quartz are all like in these like stones. How interesting. Are the other quartz like that? I don't think they are. No, they're more alive. Interesting that the swords quartz are kind of like these like epitaph or like almost like gravestones. That's very interesting. Anyway, I am really excited about this. I think this is really beautiful, and I cannot wait to spend some time getting to know it better. I think it looks really, really special, and I'm excited that it exists. Very excited to get to know it, and the art is absolutely gorgeous. So if you've been curious about this, I think this is definitely worth a closer look. Like I said, I was not tempted to pull the trigger on it before. I thought it was pretty, but that's as far as it went for me. I didn't know much about it. And then seeing this in person, I was just completely blown away. So definitely worth a look for sure. This next one makes me happy and excited. It is the Everyday Witch's Familiar Oracle, or Familiar's Oracle. I picked up recently the Everyday Witch Oracle. I had held off for the longest time, and y'all, I felt so dumb. Let me just tell you the story. You're gonna like think I'm the biggest idiot in the world. But I have been a hardcore fan of the Everyday Witch Tarot for years and years. My copy is beat to crap. I edged it. I've even worn down the edging because I've just used it so much. This is by Deborah Blake and Elizabeth Alba, and I absolutely... It's one of my favorite towers of all time. Usually if I'm asked to show a favorite tower, this is one of the first ones I'll grab. I freaking love this deck. I love it so much. It is fun. It is playful, but it gets the point across. It feels grounded, but also witchy, but witchy in like an everyday kind of way. And I love it. I love Deborah Blake's writing, and I love Elizabeth Alba's work, and the two of them make an incredible team. But I didn't pick up the Witches Familiars Oracle when it first came out. The original one, the regular one. Because of some stupid reason, I can't remember. I literally think, I'm going to tell you why I'm dumb in a second. I think it was something about like maybe the organization or the keywords, and I just was like, no, I don't know if I'll use it, and I was going through a picky phase, whatever. I don't know. It's so beautiful. And the sad thing about it is that I watched it being created. I was obsessed with Elizabeth Alba's Instagram account, always watching what she's doing art-wise, and watched this come into being. And still did not pick it up. And then when Deborah frickin' Blake reached out to me and offered to send me a signed copy, I was like, oh no, that's what it was. She offered me that, or I think the little mini Everyday Witch, which I also have. And I said yes to the mini and did not take her up on the signed Everyday Witch Oracle. And like a year and a half, 2 years later or whatever, I feel stupid because this is the most beautiful Oracle deck. I love it so much. The messages in here are really, really potent. The guidebook is incredible. I think it was an organization thing because the cards are not numbered. I think this might have been the issue. The cards aren't numbered on the actual physical card, but then they're not necessarily alphabetical in the guidebook, but they do have suits. There is a system. I don't care. I think the art is stunning. I think the messages and the themes explored in here are really, really good. And it, of course, looks just beautiful next to the Everyday Witch Tarot. So I just love it. Anyway, I'm babbling about this. This is not the point of this video. So the punchline to that is I only recently got this, and I'm really excited about it. I've been really enjoying pairing it with my Everyday Witch Tarot. So the fact that they made another Oracle to go with it, the Everyday Witches Familiars Oracle, made me really excited because I do love their work. Now, I do know they're also working on a new tarot deck together, if I remember correctly. Here's the backs for this one. Love it. Love that they're sticking with the vibe. Really excited. I don't think I've seen teasers of their new deck yet, but I'm excited about it because I just love the way that they work together. Deborah Blake, if you don't know, by the way, is also the author of Everyday Witchcraft, and The Goddess is in the Details, I believe is what it's called. I think I have all of her books on Kindle, and I really, really enjoy her writing style. If you enjoyed authors like Melissa Sonova, I'm trying to think of who else had really good, like, everyday sort of approachability in their writing, you would really appreciate Deborah Blake's books. But anyway, punchline, Llewelyn sent me the Everyday Witches Familiars, and I am about it. We have dog and wolf. We have suits, by the way. So we have, I think there's 9 cards in each suit. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, there's 9 cards in each suit. So we have earth cards, dog, wolf, horse, bear, rabbit, snake, stag, monkey, and raccoon. And then we have air. So we have hummingbird, bat, raven. I love this card. The art is just gorgeous. Owl, honeybee, monarch butterfly, dragonfly, spider, and lovebirds. Love that. And I love that on every card, you're not just seeing, there's not just an animal. There's usually a plant ally, or there's something else going on as well on the card. It's not just the familiar spirit. There's also, you know, something else going on there too. Here we have cat. So we're in the fire suit. We have cat, lion. Wait, I just noticed something, and I'm just curious if it goes the whole way through. Hold on. So we have dog and then wolf in the earth suit. In the air suit, we have hummingbird and then bat. In the fire suit, we have cat. Then we have lion, cheetah. Rooster is great for fire. Firefly, chameleon, wild boar, yes, hawk, red fox. And then in the water, we have dolphin, sea turtle. God, that's so pretty. These are just beautiful. Frog, koi, penguin, heron, octopus. Oh, that's right. When I was first going through this, I had a whole moment because, like, octopus, like, these just should have been reversed. Otter could have been 7. Octopus should have been number 8. It's octopus. It should be number 8. Such an easy thing to overlook, but like it would have been just a cool thing to have it be the 8. Otter is 8 though. And then we have beaver, and then there are spirit cards. And I totally lost my mind. Again, I don't have that original moment, but we have dragon and unicorn as spirit 1 and 2. So you know I'm sold, right? Like this is it. These are my main spirit cards that I would say I would work with. But we also have phoenix and sphinx. So, but I mean, the unicorn is right enough for me, I should say. I have particular feelings about unicorns and how they're illustrated, and there's a few details I always look for. This caught most of them, which makes me really happy. But anyway, I love that there's a spirit suit. I don't think you need as many cards in the spirit suit, so this works for me really well. And in the guidebook, just so you know the way that this is sort of put together, in the guidebook for every card, first of all, it's a beautiful full color guidebook. It's like one of those it's like a mini Llewelyn book. I mean, it is obviously a Llewelyn oracle, which actually I realize we don't have a lot of. We have, Llewelyn also distributes for Blue Angel and for Lo Scarabeo, but we don't get a lot of like Llewelyn specific oracles. So it's really exciting to see how they took their usual sort of layout style of the full color image on the left and the page on the right and applied it to oracle here. I think that's really cool. Anyways, punchline is there is for every card you get a write-up, and then you get a divination and then a message. And that, I think, is all you need for an oracle like this. I can't wait to do little family readings where it's just like all the Everyday Witch things together in a pile. I'm excited about it. Truly excited about it. Okay, a few more things. The Great Goddess Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. Lucy Cavendish, the last Lucy Cavendish deck that I really just blew me away was the Solitary Witch Oracle. Oh my gosh, the way that guidebook is written is so completely powerful and potent. It's almost like, if you read it out loud, it's almost like spoken word. It has a flow and a rhythm and a magic to it, just the way that she writes. So I'm really excited about this. This is a Blue Angel. And again, it's called the Great Goddess Oracle. And y'all, I have so many things to say because I went through all this when I did this the first time. Not me being bitter, but this is designed in a really powerful way. This is not in my opinion, look at the beautiful backs, first of all. This is not a deck that you just shuffle and randomly pull a card, just like fly by night. To me, it doesn't feel that way. To me, this feels like a deck for working with divine feminine energy in a very intentional way, in a very meaningful way. So how this works is there are 42 cards. There are 21 goddesses / divine feminine spirits in this deck. For every one, there are 2 cards. They have 2 different artworks on them. So here, for example, is Inanna. For every goddess in here, you have a card 1 and a card 2. The card 1 is her blessing, and the card 2 is her invocation. So the way this is set up, so for example, Inanna here is Lady of Rapture, and then this is card 1, her blessing, and underneath that it will tell you whether she's a maiden, mother, or crone energy. And her second card has 3 keywords for her. Instead of saying Lady of Rapture, it says strength, vigor, and daring. So there's a reason that these are designed this way. And then card 2 says the invocation, and of course we see also maiden here. These are designed this way because this card is designed to be a message coming from Inanna to you. And card 2 is you invoking or calling out to this goddess. So why you might. So for example, it says Lady of Rapture because the Lady of Rapture is coming to give you a message. Whereas on this card, the subtitle is Strength, Vigor, and Daring because you might reach out to Inanna when you need strength, vigor, or you need help in these areas, right? So then the way the guidebook is written, so it does this the whole way through. So for example, we have Persephone, we also have Demeter. So over here we have Demeter. Card 1, she is Lady of the Golden Grain. And then in card 2, it says Devotion, Family, and Growth. And these gold foil detailing on these cards is really pretty too. They do feel like the kind of thing where you could pull both cards out and work with them. So then if I go to to card entries for Demeter, you'll see what I mean. So I'm not going to read the whole thing because it can be a lot, but they're very potent. And I will say, so for the card 1, for Demeter's card 1, which is her blessing, it starts like this. Demeter speaks. And I'm just going to read this paragraph. I am her radiant, most loving mother and the mother of the golden grain. I decree the moving of the wheel that circles into the seasons, the wheel that turns from summer to autumn, from trembling seed to lustrous sheaves of wheat. I offer all of this bounty, and yet taken from me was my darling, my daughter. And from that grief and harrowing loss came winter, and an emptiness that took away all light, all laughter, stole my future. With the help of my sister goddesses, she was restored to the world, so the wheel cycles once again. An understanding was born of the worth of the mother who will search the world for a child taken. And it goes on from there. And she tells you what she's bringing to you, basically. And then in card 2, the invocation, it's written like this, like you're saying it. And so again, I'll just read this first little bit. I sing to you, Demeter, the mother of the earth. You, Demeter, who grieves and turns the cycle of the seasons in never-ending circles of time, I call to you and ask for your aid. For you have known the deep loss that disables the spirit, and even you, O goddess, were unable to let go of the mourning that threatened to swallow both the world and new life. And it goes on from there. There's also a little subtext up here. So this says, there's a siren going off. There's a subtext here that says, Demeter, help me heal my grief and pain. And over here it says, on the blessing, it says, I shall return you to the spring times of your life. So the entries are really, really powerful and really beautiful. This is definitely the kind of thing where I would absolutely encourage you to read the book and work with it. I think this would be really, really powerful for intentional work with particular figures. I also think this would be really powerful if you don't know what energy you need in that moment to pull, because you might think that you need to reach out and what you need to do is receive information. Or you might, as you shuffle and work with the card and like pull a card randomly, you might receive a message that's really, really intense and poignant. I will point out and just say that this does not hide at all from the intensity of the goddess. There is a lot of potency here. There is a lot of power in these words, and they are not fluffy. I'll just say it that way. You have only to read just one or two of them and you get the vibe very quickly that this is really meant to be an empowered, powerful, raw, frank exploration of the goddess. And I think it's really special. There's only a couple of goddess decks that have stayed in my collection. The Hirana Janto and Maria Sophie, I forget the names now. So I used to know them by heart really well. But that Goddess Oracle, the original one called just the Goddess Oracle, has stayed. The Goddess on Earth Oracle is another super powerful one that was an indie deck that was created. And as a mass market deck, holy moly, this is a powerful contribution, I think. And I was really impressed by it. The next two decks are in our more classic Llewelyn packaging. And both are tarot decks. So first off, they sent me the Bee Tarot by Christopher Hughes, art by Nadia Turner. This is one of the most striking boxes I have ever seen from Llewelyn. It's just so beautiful. So I didn't know that the Bee Tarot was linen finish cards. I didn't know that. But holy cow, this is so gorgeous. And can I just tell you, probably one of my favorite smells in the world is a Llewelyn guidebook. It's like the best smell. It is so inky and so delicious. And these card edges have been colored a beautiful, like sort of honey gold. I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but if I show it next to a white, you'll see. You can see the difference in the color of the card edges, right? Or the page edges. So that's a cool feature. It's kind of funny. This is something that Dawn Michelle and I noticed when we were at a bookstore, is that a lot of books nowadays are coming out with these kinds of touches, right? Gilded edges, fancy edges. And I'm just like, what? It's so cool. The guidebook is absolutely beautiful, as we do come to know and expect from a Llewelyn guidebook. They're very beautifully produced books, and they make me really happy, if I'm being honest. I love the effort and energy that goes into a Llewelyn deck set. It's just forever going to be one of my favorite things. But the cards themselves are also really beautiful. So here we have this very striking back design. I really want to spend some time getting to know this deck. I tend to have this sort of immediate visceral reaction to bees. And it's just childhood stuff. It's just stuff. But bees are a beautiful representation for so many things in our world, and I think it's a really great metaphor. The funny thing is I became more tempted to check this deck out in person when I saw Dawn Michelle was using this for like sort of community and work related sort of readings, and I was like, that makes so much sense. But the art is absolutely gorgeous. The honeymoon for the lovers is fabulous. What I'm wondering, actually, so here we have Temperance. I'm wondering if the guidebook really does bring the lesson of the bees into the meanings of the cards. That's what I'm curious about. Truly. So here we have Temperance. Buzzwords. Oh my God. Buzzwords instead of keywords is fabulous. I love that. So let's read this. Here we see the spirit of the hive in a semi-humanoid form. Oh, okay. arising from the comb of the hive itself. There is something otherworldly about this creature. She embodies the subtle balance and moderation that must be maintained between the human and bee worlds. The very act of keeping bees is a sacred dance that has existed for millennia, but in the modern world it can lead to greed and misfortune. When the keeper falls out of balance with the spirit of the bees, all parties will eventually suffer. In recent decades, blights such as colony collapse disorder indicated that subtle yet powerful influences caused hives to become unbalanced. The powers of moderation can be seen flowing from the goblets that the spirit holds in her hands. It is in a constant state of flow, and if something were to disrupt that flow, then moderation cannot be achieved. Notice that the fluid passes impossibly from the topmost goblet to the lowermost without spilling. This is symbolic of energies moving from the inner world to the outer world. This card highlights the process of testing the mettle of one's personality and character. A well-balanced individual will know themselves enough to bring moderation into play. An unbalanced individual may cause chaos for themselves and others. Upright. The situation at hand needs grounding in not one but two different ways, one being the subtle and the other the physical. There is more going on than is apparent. You must find the path of balance, avoiding extremes as much as possible. The middle path is always the best one, so maintain your poise and hold to your vision. Reversed. In this position, temperance refers to the fact that you have lost your way. Extremes and excesses may be blighting your vision and ability to find your way. For balance to occur, you must evaluate yourself first. What was it that went wrong and when? It is time to go back to the drawing board. So really beautiful messages that definitely do connect to the lessons we can learn from bees. So here I just happen to spot in the Hermit, when bees swarm, they do so for one of two reasons. The first being that the hive has become too crowded, and the second because the hive is unable to provide for their needs. So it goes on from there. So it is not just like, hey, here's some pretty bees on a card. We're going to actually pull lessons from the bee world into the tarot and correlate them. And that's exciting, because the thing that I don't like is when decks go themed and then don't really draw on that theme. Don't pull that into the point of the card, right? And I love that this is so strongly themed, but it's pulled into the meaning of the cards. The actual artwork itself is really gorgeous. We see, obviously, lots of beautiful bees, but we also see, like, look at this bread and honey for the Ace of Pentacles is so perfect. So we really get the vibe. Here's a little honey cart or honey table at a market in the Seven of Pentacles. I'm actually kind of excited about this. And the funny thing is that, like I said, it was kind of like middling on my radar, but I think this might be a deck that could potentially heal my relationship with bees a little bit. So I'm excited to spend some time with it and get to know it a little bit better. There's a lot of things currently needing some attention in my collection right now, so I'm not sure how quickly I will get to this. I'm excited to get to know this and spend a little more time with it and just see where it takes me. And last but not least, y'all, if you were here for the beginning of this video, then you already know that I am a mega fan of Miss Barbara Moore. So you already know where all my biases are. We've been very transparent about it. With that said, I am so freaking excited to have a copy of her newest deck, Good Fortune Tarot, in my hands. If you don't know, this deck was illustrated by Jessica Rue, who's the creator of the Woodland Warden's Oracle, and Barbara Moore designed this deck. She wrote the book. There is a lot going on in here. I am beside myself because Barbara had an idea, and I think, and spoiler alert, I'm obsessed with this already, but I think she executed it in such a cool way, in such an innovative way. If you've seen this deck and we're thinking, oh, just another, Llewelyn, RWS, clone-ish kind of, no. I personally feel, no, absolutely not. This is not at all like that. But I think that the art style, this kind of like beautiful, kind of gentle, almost colored pencil style, it kind of, I don't know if it's colored pencils. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's a thing. I think that the look of this deck can immediately cause us to make assumptions about it. And I'm just going to point out, I think is really freaking innovative, and I'm going to point out a whole bunch of that soon because I'm going to be doing a deep dive, full length, like, let's go in on this deck. So just know that up front, because I was very excited. And I'm so bummed I didn't record the footage, but when I first opened this, I had a whole moment with it. Anyways, I'm going to try not to gush so wildly, but I just am very excited about this because I thought this was just going to be, I really did. I was one of those people that was like, oh, look at the art. Okay, cool. It's going to be kind of RWS-y, I guess. Okay, cool. It's not. Anyway, let me calm down. So it says, Fate, Destiny, Fortune. These cards can tip them in your favor. When you're tossed about by fate and pulled along by destiny, Good Fortune Tarot shows you how to squeeze every drop of luck from even the direst of situations. Not toxic positivity, y'all. We'll get there. Adding clever touches of the Marseille tradition to Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, this deck illuminates the road ahead so you won't be caught off guard. Jessica Rue's lush illustrations bring new light to familiar symbolism, and best-selling author Barbara Moore teaches you how to attract and direct fortune in ways that support the best outcome for each day. Featuring linen textured cards and a rich guidebook full of tips and interpretations, Good Fortune Tarot is the best tool for making your own destiny. Y'all, okay, first of all, the box is linen-y, which is so lovely. So I have so many things to say about this, but there is a really fun little surprise to the way that this whole thing is done, the way the whole guidebook is written, and I have so many things to say, but I don't want to spoil them because I know I'm going to go in on a deep dive. So I will say this, the guidebook is incredible. Let's take a quick look. I've seen it. I've also read a big chunk of it already because, again, I had to re-record this footage, so I couldn't wait, like, geez. So there's an incredible foreword and introduction that are 100% worth reading. Very, very entertaining. The writing in here, y'all, okay, so this is the deck that I want to write someday. Like, I don't know how to say this. I can tell reading this, I can tell looking at the way that this deck was created and designed and what went into it, I can tell that, and it's really kind of said in this book as well, that Barbara's like, you know what? I'm going to do the thing I really want to do and I'm going to have fun with it. And it's really apparent. And that fun and that energy and that enthusiasm, that genuine, authentic enthusiasm for tarot 100% comes through. There are so many cool overlaid pieces here between Marseille and RWS. And it's there if you're looking for it. But more than that, we get, look at this artwork, it's incredible. But the way that this is written is that for every card you get a fate, you also get a good fortune. And this is actually defined in the introduction to this book. So again, watch my deep dive if you want to learn more, because I know I'm going to go in on all of this. But for every card you get fate. This is the stuff that, like, this is like the fortune tellery style part of the reading. This is like, hey, this is what's going on. And then you get a good fortune. And fortune, as defined in this system, really is the concept that you can't change your fate, but you can change your fortune, right? You can affect your fortune. You can have good fortune or bad fortune, but you can also cultivate. You know, you can make changes there. You have a little bit of influence in your fortune. You don't always have influence over your fate. And how much each of these influences are going to impact you in a reading is going to, a lot of, I think, times depend on your belief structure, how you play with and work with the ideas or the concepts of fate and fortune. And then you get a reversal of fortune, which is like the reversed card meaning. When I tell you, this is a very, very clever deck, and if you take the time to spend with it, you're going to find some really cool things. I want to point out, the way the guidebook is organized is by aces, twos, threes, and so on. So if you're looking for a book with a more numerological emphasis, I think this one would also be very exciting for you. But let me just show you, because I'm obsessed with this card. I talked about it on Hot Takes. I think I talked about it on Hot Takes with Danny. But in this card, this is the Three of Swords. So again, not an RWS clone. Something different is happening here. What is different? Instead of the three swords piercing the heart, one of the swords has been removed by this owl, who I assume would be a representation of wisdom, right? Learning wisdom. And there is gold filling in the wounds on the heart. Yes, kintsugi, a reference of pouring gold, melted gold into broken pottery to enhance its beauty through its wounds, right? What a powerful metaphor for the Three of Swords. And it's addressed directly in the book. What I love about this too, though, is that this book is the least hand-holdy, in my opinion, of Llewelyn decks of late. It does not make it, it's clear and it's easy to understand, but it treats us, the viewer, the reader, the person working with the cards, as someone who, like, can extrapolate, right? Can add more, can influence the meanings that they're interpreting or that they're reading. I am obsessed with this. This is not what it looks like on its face, and I think that's the thing I wanted to point out here. Again, I will be going all in on this deck in a full deep dive. Watch for that coming out soon. But this deck, at the time I'm making this video, I think it's out in a couple of days officially, so this is actually an early release copy for me, because it hasn't quite hit at the point that I'm filming this. But I am so excited about this. I'm so excited. I haven't even shown you the freaking cards. Okay, just rest assured, there's so much cleverness. There's some really, really cool vibes in this. This is not just another, I mean, no offense. Llewelyn decks can sometimes feel samey if the concepts aren't diverse enough. And this one does not feel like that. This really stands apart for me. And I think if you just take it at just the artwork at first glance, you might miss so much that's going on here. So it is absolutely gorgeous. Again, I'm going to be doing a full walkthrough already on this one, so just keep that in mind. But if there's anything else you saw today that you also want to see a more close look at, definitely let me know. I use those kind of comments to plan my content. There's some really cool stuff in here that I'm excited about, but there are other things here on the table. I mean, Jessica Rue's art is just beautiful. It's just gorgeous, and this has obviously taken a lot of hard work. I love this depiction of the Four of Pentacles. It's so good. So good. So, this is the Good Fortune Tarot. Again, it is on a linen embossed cardstock. It's basically Llewelyn's cardstock, but with a linen finish, so you know that it'll shuffle and glide really nicely. I've always really enjoyed how Llewelyn decks shuffle, though, so the linen's such a nice treat, but it is not, like, Llewelyn cardstock's already lovely. I do like that it has less of that super shiny gloss, and it's more of a satin finish, like it's an in-between finish, but this is an absolutely beautiful deck. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while we went through all the Llewelyn goodies and while I babbled and babbled and babbled about my book, which I'm so excited about. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will definitely be back soon with another video. In the meantime, thank you, thank you, thank you. A special big extra thank you to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you for supporting my work here. It has such an impact. You will never know how big of an impact it has, but it has such an impact. And to those of you who are viewers who comment or subscribe or hit the bell or all of the things, you like the videos, any of that kind of thing, thank you for your engagement. Even if you just watch. Watching is the most powerful thing you can do to support what I do here. Thank you. And until next time, y'all, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.